Between 2013 and 2016, the Philadelphia 76ers went through a historic period of sucking. Their performance was so bad that they established new NBA records for the longest losing streaks within a single season, dropping 26 games in the 13 and 14 season and finishing with a mere 19 wins. Additionally, they etched their name in NBA history by sustaining the longest losing streak by any franchise over 2 seasons, with 28 consecutive losses spanning the end of the 14-15 season into the 15-16 season. The 2015-2016 season saw them setting a new low, finishing with a record of 10 wins and 72 losses, marking them as the worst team in NBA history. Despite the 76ers' abysmal performance, the front office adamantly claimed that this was all part of their strategic plan, aptly named trusting the process. Their intention was to deliberately remain a bottom-tier team, strategically securing top lottery picks each year with the ultimate goal of building a championship-contending team. While opinions may differ on the success of this plan for the Sixers, who have been in contention for the past 5 or 6 seasons, and acquired a franchise player in Joel Embiid, their inability to advance beyond the second round of the playoffs is a stark reality. Our focus today isn't on the Sixers' journey. Instead, we shift our attention to a team that is challenging the Sixers for the title of the worst team in NBA history, the Detroit Pistons. Surprisingly, their situation is even more dire, and we'll dive into their comically bad performance this season, with no clear end in sight for them to secure even a single victory as a professional basketball team. If you're new to the channel and enjoyed this type of content, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button to help our community grow. Now, let's dive into the Detroit Pistons' journey. When they secured the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft lottery, with the consensus that Kade Cunningham,
with the first pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Kade Cunningham from Oklahoma State University.
A future generational talent, would be the top selection. Hopes were high that this would mark a turning point for the Pistons. A team that had only made the playoffs twice since 2009, hadn't won a playoff series since 2008, and had embraced the tank, winning just 20 games in consecutive seasons. The Pistons' luck hadn't always been in their favor. Despite getting the number 1 pick in a draft featuring a generational talent, Cunningham faced injuries in his rookie season, missing virtually all of his sophomore year. Nevertheless, this setback wasn't a major concern because the Pistons weren't expected to transform into title contenders overnight with Cunningham. The plan was to continue losing, building through the draft. To their credit, the Pistons made solid decisions on draft night in 2022. They selected Jaden Ivey at number 5, which many considered a steal. Additionally, they traded up to acquire Jalen Duren in the lottery. Despite their efforts, the Pistons needed to stay in the realm of being really bad, strategically tanking for a chance at landing Amoni Bates. They finished with the worst record in the NBA, holding the best odds to secure the top pick. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on their side yet again. Despite finishing with the worst record and having the best odds to land in the top 4, every other team jumped ahead of them, leaving the Pistons with the number 5 pick. A disappointing outcome for a team that had the worst record in the NBA. Now, let's shift our focus. I won't dwell on the fact that the Pistons landed the 5th pick, because honestly, I believe a Sir Thompson at that spot was a great move for them. Despite some inconsistency, I see tremendous upside in his game, possibly even more than his brother, who went 4th, and I'd venture to say more upside than Brandon Miller. However, all of this becomes somewhat irrelevant because, let's face it, the Pistons weren't supposed to be this bad this season. When you examine their roster, a mix of young talent and balanced shooting from veterans like Joe Harris and Bogdan Bogdanovic, the initial expectation was that they'd be one of those young, fast, scrappy teams that you need to be ready to face. An inexperienced team, sure, with challenges in closing out games, but a competitive and up-and-coming squad nonetheless. People didn't anticipate a playoff appearance or even a team with a winning record, but they were expected to be in the conversation for that last play-in spot. Now, you might be skeptical and think I'm exaggerating, especially if you're looking at their current struggles. Rewind to mid-October and check out the preseason rankings from major media outlets. Many pundits placed the Pistons anywhere between 14th and 11th in the Eastern Conference. I vividly recall some even ranking them ahead of the Bulls in their preseason power rankings, a detail I won't soon forget. So, while nobody expected the Pistons to be a powerhouse, nobody foresaw them plummeting to the depths they found themselves in now. Sure, they faced some injuries. Jalen Duren and Bogdanovic missed significant time. I've consistently highlighted Duren as one of their underrated players. However, when you consider that their core, including the likes of Kade Cunningham, is healthy, it's baffling to see a team laden with supposed young studs sitting dead last in the NBA and on track to set the record for the longest losing streak in league history. Let's delve into the core issue though. Why are the Pistons performing so bad? At the end of the day, they are a professional basketball team with skilled players. While every NBA season sees a mix of good and bad teams, the current landscape of the NBA, characterized by high parity, means that any team can defeat any other team on any given night. However, there's an exception. You can pretty much pencil in a win when you're facing the Pistons. As of this recording, the Pistons find themselves in the midst of a staggering 25-game losing streak.
Yeah, we're not 2-26 bad. You know what I mean? Like, no way are we that bad.
People are understandably trying to pinpoint the precise reasons behind this unprecedented struggle. Sure, you can analyze the numbers, delve into advanced stats, and picture becomes clearer. They possess the worst net rating in the NBA. They rank poorly in both offense and defense, struggle with three-point shooting, commit turnovers at an alarming rate, they're the second worst in the league, foul opponents excessively, leading the league in fouls committed by a wide margin, and don't get to the foul line enough. They also face challenges in inefficient rim finishing and rebounding despite their size. All these issues contribute to their overall poor performance. But here's the surprising part. Even with these glaring statistics, one would expect occasional victories. Yet, in their 25-game losing streak, the Pistons aren't just losing, they're not even competitive in their losses. The age-old saying, you can lose, but are you losing as a team? Are you still giving maximum effort in a loss? Holds true. While the phrase moral victories may be cringeworthy, there's a nugget of truth in it. Losing games can be acceptable if there's progress or learning happening, turning a loss into a sort of win. However, in the Pistons' recent 2 losses alone, they were defeated by more than 30 points, with the games essentially decided and over with by halftime. The question remains, what is plaguing this team, preventing them from not only winning but even being competitive in their losses? Throughout this extended losing streak, the Pistons have managed only 1 loss by fewer than 5 points, and shockingly, that was against the Denver Nuggets. Most of their defeats during this dismal stretch have been by double digits. It's hard to argue that even in their losses, the Pistons are playing well, learning, and supporting each other. It's really quite the opposite, actually. When dissecting the Pistons' current struggles, it's not attributed to any specific player or players, the coaching staff, or even the front office that constructed the roster. It's more than just their playing style. It's the profound sense of defeat and dejection that plagues this team. They can't overcome the mental hurdle of a perpetual state of losing. Even when the Pistons seem poised for a victory, if the opposing team counters with a run, you can see it in the players' eyes, body language, and demeanor. They crumble. Some might label it as being mentally soft or lacking a killer instinct, but the truth is, it's a young team without a winning history, unfamiliar with the consistent demands of success in the NBA. Now, the situation has reached a point where the players acknowledge this season is essentially over, and pervasive narrative of their comically bad performance has taken a toll. The team is seemingly checked out on each other. The coaching staff has lost control of the locker room, and players are more focused on personal stats and how their performance will impact their next contract. Some may even be contemplating how to escape the team to rediscover the feeling of winning. Breaking free from a mental rut, especially on this scale, is the most challenging aspect of basketball. It's a bigger problem for the Pistons right now than any specific metric, player, offensive system, or coach. I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.